I need to ask you a question. Be curious, Drifters.
Allegron's won the Brisbane Cup, but it's all Antino. Blake Shin take a bow. Barraquil, Benny Allen hasn't moved.
Broadside him, bobbed, won the Golden Rose.
Pride of Jenny trying to find the reserves at the 100. She's 3 in front of Mr. Brightside. It's all too late. Pride of Jenny has run them into the night. Switzerland a big winner by 2.5 Bellatrix Star.
He's down, Jolly Star. She is a star in the making. Jolly Star bolts in.
It's all Isthmus. She's very smart and fast.
Nothing like a false start on a Sunday morning. Drifters, this podcast is coming to you after we were just having about a 10-15 minute chat about all the good stuff that's happened this weekend. So we'll have to try and recapture that magic as Declan joins us from Sydney. What's going on, bruh?
From Sydney. Oh, mate, it's an absolute passport shredder down here. You know, Sydney really turns it on. It's the Autumn Carnival. And, phenomenal day of racing yesterday, but who gives a shit about that? Mate, when are you joining the tour?
What we started with, Drifters, because only one half of this podcast had an absolute field day on the actual punt, which is what we're actually paid to do on this podcast. So what I did was I highlighted my prowess on the golf simulator on Friday night. So I finished 6 over at Augusta, no less. Now, sim golf is considerably easier than real life golf. Last 8 holes, were all pars. So I think my back 9 holes even, which was good stuff. But yeah, how many shots did I win by? I think I won by 8 shots. Like, ran away with it sort of stuff. So
mate, life's good.
Yeah.
Life's good. You know, if you're hitting 6 over, if you actually did that at Augusta in real life,
bro,
like would you retire? Would you play again?
No, like, is it too late for me to actually join the tour? Like, that's you know what I mean? Like should I actually give this a crack? Yeah, it's like that's where you're just contemplating your entire life's decisions, like on the flight home. It's like, all right, what do I have to do?
Am I washed?
Yeah. Like, I was talking to Macca on Friday night about it. And I was like, he's like, fuck, dude, you're playing pretty well. I'm like, yeah, but it's a sim. He's like, what do you mean? And it's like, I'm like, mate, there's no way I'm hitting 6 over at Augusta if we're actually playing there. Like, I'm like 20 over at absolute best. He's like, you reckon? I'm like, mate, all right, let's do it this way, right? If we had fucking Tiger Woods hitting off the sim here right now, do you reckon he would hit like the same score that he'd get out there? No. He would get like 20 under. He's like, no, that's a fair point. So yeah, anyway. Short answer, I might join the sim tour. Like,
yeah. Is there a sim tour?
I know they have.
But the tour is in the same spot. Never moves.
Yeah, I know they have like comps. Like, there was this one bloke next to us. Dowie said that he took about 10 mulligans, which is that's not how you play sim golf, bruh. You just you still have to play it where it lands. It's just a favourable lie most of the time. But anyway, so that was my win this weekend, but you had plenty on the track, which was nice.
Oh, man, it's just one of those days, and I was overdue for a good day. Let's be honest. Yeah, it was just good racing all around. And there was a lot of questions answered, I think, yesterday, but even more raised. You know what I mean?
Yeah, real 6 of one, half a dozen of the other type of operation.
Yep.
Well,
and we were talking about, you know, before the dramas, like we were talking about the futurity stakes and just the questions coming out of that.
Yeah, well, Jordan Sondergeld, what Group 1 does I wish I win? Few wins in that sentence. But prior to that, it's like Mr. Brightside, all the chocolates, all the favours, I guess, go to him because tough run, tough win. As you said earlier before, our tech dramas, brilliant ride by Willow, just got him where he was comfortable, on speed, tactically, which was, it actually wasn't a disadvantage yesterday, which was, much to my chagrin. But, yeah, excellent ride. And then Kitty Cat Tom and I Wish I Win were super returns, but I Wish I Win in particular, probably had a better run in transit.
Yeah, absolutely. The way he presented, I thought he was going to win. I Wish I Win. A lot of wins, isn't it? But and we were sort of talking about like if Moods and Cat Coleman want to aim him out over further, it's like, well, how far? Like, you made the point in All-Star Mile and then an Australia Cup. I'd actually love to see that just so we can answer the question about him. Is he dynamic enough to be super competitive at the weight for age Group 1's out over further? Like, does that? But I'm not sure if that run yesterday answers that question. You know what I mean?
I think when Moods and by virtue Cat Coleman, they zig when everyone else zags, right? So
yeah,
I have a feeling they'll go to a George Ryder, just because like that's the exact type of race that Moods would like target. I reckon with this horse, and it's like it's back to the scene of the crime, Rosehill, 1,500 meters where he won a Golden Eagle. Like tried and tested sort of stuff. Yeah. I
think it's like I don't know about other punters. Like I can't read their minds, so I think it's actually forgotten about the fact that he won a Golden Eagle and a good addition as well.
Yeah. Fangirl should have won it, but that's I swear I'm over that. I swear. Like, well. It was easier to get over when you land the $70 Quinella as well. That makes it a ton easier. But Kitty Cat Tom went through his most recent run, so he's putting some together, Tom. So his last 4 runs, he hasn't won, but he's run second in at Epsom behind Cheerwolf by 1.5 lengths. Fourth in the King Charles on a soft deck, beaten 3.5 behind the likes of Cheerwolf, prior to Jenny Mike Oberon. Third in the Golden Eagle, first local horse home. And then he ran second yesterday, and with more equal luck, he probably wins the Futurity. Yeah.
Kitty Cat Tom. He's not so much of a kitten after all. Look, we talk about this on the podcast all the time, and it's sometimes geldings who've shown talent, they just take a while to realise it and be more consistent with it. Like, remember, how many years did we talk about Cascadian being a he can run on a bit type horse? Like, it took him years to get to the point where you're like, no, you know he's going to run well. He's not necessarily going to win, but you just know he's going to run well most of the time. And maybe Kitty Cat Tom's just starting to, with more time under his belt, more time that James Cummings has with him, just a bit more battle hardened. But no, it was a great run by Kitty Cat Tom, and yeah, you made the point. Like, you weren't sure if it was him or his brother Pericles, running on. But Pericles had a charmed run. But I know which one I'm taking out of that race. There's always a favourite son.
All right, this is the difference between the two, right? And I'm just coming up with this analogy because the great game of rugby league is back next weekend, and I think everyone Australia-wide is incredibly excited for that.
Absolutely.
Tom Kitten is the captain of your second grade side, and he's the one that when there's an injury coming down or goes down in the squad, easy second man up, like your number 14 type of operation. That's how I kind of view Tom Kitten. So he's going to be like a 100 game like first grade type of operation.
Yeah.
Whereas Pericles he's just the person that he's like the person in your 30-man squad that is number 28, 29, last to be signed, and a real Matt Lodge type where he's played for about 8 different clubs. That's the type of, like, they kind of belong in first grade, but it's like no one really wants them there.
Yeah. Pericles he's on a train and trial.
Yeah.
He's on a train and trial, Pericles.
Yeah. I think that's an adept like kind of analogy between the two.
Yeah. So what you're saying is Kitty Cat Tom, he's not playing representative footy.
No.
Like he's never going to be a superstar. But like he's going to be a guy where you know, years and years later, you're trying to think of obscure rugby league players from the 90s who played 100 games, and you're trying to list these names, and every single time your mate says one, you're like, oh fuck yeah, I remember that guy. That's Kitty Cat Tom.
Yeah, you know who he reminds me of is like Sean Berrigan in the Broncos Premiership, where he wins man of the match against the Storm, and it's like he just did a job for them that year. Like I can see Tom Kitten winning an elite Group 1 one day, but he won't win.
Yeah.
It'll be the only one he wins for his career, like outside of his own age group. So,
and it'll be 20 to 1. It'll be 20 to 1.
Exactly. Like that's what I can see Tom Kitten doing that.
Absolutely. But look, all honest to Mr. Brightside, it was a tough run. You know, we picked the eyes out of that race. It's short enough, and he just got there. So, full credit to him. 9 Group 1s now. Wow.
Yeah, most successful horse in Lindsay Park history. Now, the Blue Diamond, great addition. Wasn't straightforward from the SP profiles of the top 5 across the line. Have a read of this. Devil Knight, well found by my co-host. That's 16 to 1 I'm looking at. Tentris, 21 to 1 at running second. Put a shiver up your spine later, I'm sure. Tycoon Star for Yu Long at 17 to 1. The Playwright at 21's running fourth. And then Eden Rose at 200 to 1 running fifth. So I think the first 4, I'm looking at 110,000 to 1 in New South Wales. So Devil Knight, mate, well done.
Yeah, how good. Well, I said on the pod, you know, during the week, and you went in a similar vein. Like in a race like that, you're trying to steer clear of the shorties, even though it was still ended up probably being about $4.50 the field, because they did come for field of play the favourite late. You just try and hunt some value and have a couple of throws at the stumps. So I did have 2 bets. I had a bet on him and I had a bet on my Gladiola as well. But the thing with him was when the field came out and the prices went up, and he was, you know, $13 to $14 with the good people at Neds when the field came out. I just thought it was overs. I was like, well, bro's just run second on debut to the favourite. Like, I feel like he should be closer in price to him, and he was so green that day. But mate, it was a you know, he fell in, but it was a good, tough run, and from gate 2 with Mick D, just got him in the right position. He had a great run, and I feel like in a 2-year-old race on the rails, like a point that you always make about the 2-year-olds loving to run along the rail, like that's what he had. So yeah, he just got there. Did I imagine the rest of the top 5 in the race would be such long prices? No. That's like if you got a result in that race in an exotic, like, well done to you.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And it's funny because you don't typically see this with the 2-year-olds all the time, and it's not a fait accompli. Because I think I heard Richo say after the race that this colt was a 7-figure colt. It was like he was like a $1.1 or $1.5 million colt when he was or yearling when he was purchased. So, but then he was 40 to 1 before his first start. So he must just show absolutely nothing on the training track. And then he was again $16 after a fantastic debut run. So yeah, mate, well done to you. And that's what these 2-year-old races can kind of throw up, as we saw in Sydney, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, basically complete opposite of what happened last year, because yeah, the Colts, 3 Colts, 1, 2, 3 across the line. The Playwright was the first filly home, so we'll see how that kind of goes. But Tempted was a decent run. She just got way too far back for Godolphin. Massive market support for her. She was about 12-ish, 13-ish when we were doing the podcast, and she
Yep.
SP'd at about $7.50. And then the extractor, well, he was behind Tempted and never got into it, ever. Not sighted.
No. No. Maybe he just didn't like the travel down, didn't like the Melbourne leg extractor. Maybe.
Probably just not good enough. But now, the Oakley plate. Oh, God damn it. I thought heading into the straight, about 200 to home, I was like, holy smokes. How tough is Arabian Summer? Basically going to be 3 or 4 wide the trip, facing the breeze, and she's still going to bloody win. And then she just ran out.
She presented, didn't she?
She just ran out of puff.
Yeah. No, she's a tough filly, mate. It was a great run. Where'd she end up finishing, like 4th or 5th?
Yeah, 5th, beaten 3. So it's like, if she draws in, she's definitely in the finish, I feel. She ran super. Really, really proud of her. Gave me a sight. But Jimmy, holy smokes, he just gets on with Caulfield, doesn't he? And he followed the right horse in. She's bulletproof, had the market support, a mare in form, and he just got on the back of her and went, see ya. Thanks, Darl.
Yeah. Gate 14 in a race like that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And it literally, the race went when he started to slingshot around, and there was 50 metres to go, 100 metres to go, and I saw him and I was like, yep, this is exactly how I anticipated he would run. But I didn't think he'd be so dominant towards the end over 1,100 metres. He just, like you said, he just gets along so well with Caulfield, and in Oakley play it when they're going to go hell for leather up front, and you're going to probably get something that's going to swoop late. He just set up perfectly for him. And like he wasn't pumped in by any means, but I think on the podcast with the good people in there too, it was like $9 or $10 and jumped, $7, something like that. So there was some market support. I think the question mark for Jimmy was, it was a great resumption last prep over 1,100 metres, but in way weaker grade. Like, can he replicate that or go to another level? Well, I think he's gone to another level there. Like, I think that's his best performance ever, and it's probably shown that 1,400 metres that he was tried at 3 times last prep. Maybe that's his limit. Maybe he's more of a 1,200 metre horse if the pace is on.
Yeah, I think he just has that electric short turn of foot that not many horses in the country can actually produce. You know who showed a very similar one, actually, same colours in the spring, was Nadal. I thought, Nadal in a race like that would have been competitive, but who knows, probably tactical from the connections. But Jimmy, I agree. I think he has gone to another level. So that's exciting for Jimmy fans. She's Bulletproof was brave. Ray McNerio just does what Ray does with Jai on, ran top 3. Headwall, who's, you're a fan of his, and then Arabian Summer, and Espionage was the top 6.
Yeah, Espionage was, he was green. Like, so I had 2 bets in the race, Drifters, and Espionage was 1 bet, and Jimmy was the other. But obviously Espionage was at much bigger price, so I wanted him to win. So, like, he sort of swooped around, and it's just it was just a lot for him to for a first run in like a year, for a really light the race 3-year-old. I think he's a horse who's got a lot of talent to do that. So back to his own grade, back to his own age, lower grade. Like he's one I'm definitely keen to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Now in Sydney, a few talking points here. May as well kick off with the 2-year-old race. Now, Nick Scala has a question. Should K-Mac look at Zach Lloyd's ride on broadsiding about adapting quickly and being proactive? What do you reckon on that? Woden, Kieran was 3 wide, no cover. He did draw the outside alley, as we kind of saw last week as well. What do you reckon?
K-Mac, like, I didn't test trips off him last week. Like, I wasn't that harsh, but I said they were dog shit rides because they were. In that sort of situation, particularly when Chris Waller comes out and tells the stewards the intention is to ride the horse back from the wide gate, which basically says to every other jockey in the race, like, okay, well, if he's going to drag him last, I'm still going to try and box him out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still going to try and hang him out to dry, even if it's way back in the field. So, could he have been more adaptable? Could he have done something differently? Yeah, in that situation, probably. But I'm not going to be as harsh on this ride as I was on his 2 last week. Like, if the horse is so much better than him, I feel like he still had the opportunity to actually win. You know what I mean? Like, he was so dominant on debut that I feel like, you know, he probably had enough opportunity to put them away. But at the same time, like, you don't want to bust him up. It's not his grand final. But he was incredibly short in the market. And, I certainly didn't take the $2.20 or whatever it was, put it that way.
Yeah. And I think there's visually what they can do on, like, in a performance, right? So you look back to his debut run. It was on a self-7 in mid-January. And he beat the Magic Man. The Magic Man is going to be a nice little barometer for us, I feel. Now, he beat the Magic Man by about 3.5 to 4 lengths that day, right? Now, the Magic Man then went around in the English Millennium and was beaten by a similar margin. Now, if you look at Rivellino and Within the Law, like, those horses are probably haven't been visually as impressive, but they've probably done it in conditions, i.e. beating the Magic Man by similar distances, but they've done it in conditions that are probably going to be more suitable to a Golden Slipper, because now Wotan's gone around in 2 races of, 7 horse fields, 9 horse fields, whereas the Millennium had about 16 in it. And Rivellino and Within the Law had done what they've done. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
Wotan, they've hyped up this horse to be, what was he, $3 in early slipper markets when no other horses won from that race, and it was a soft 7 deck. So I don't think you're going to see this horse wound up to win a silver slipper. Like, he wants to wear a golden slipper. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. So, yeah, the ride his best, K-Mac? No, but it certainly wasn't his worst. But also, no, I don't think anyone would have questioned the ride at all if Wotan started at $12 and not $2. You know what I mean? Mm. So yeah, you make a fair point. Like, when something's in the market that short, and, you know, in the current market, but also in futures markets, based on a debut run in mid-January, like, we know Chris Waller as a trainer, and he's a grand final trainer, and yeah, I feel like that was hindsight's a beautiful thing, obviously, but, you know, during the week, I don't know what we said on the podcast, but we're probably both like, gee, $2 is a bit short for him, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was on Buffalo, who only really started getting through his work on the line as a 2-year-old gelding. So, and the market spat him out. So he was about 26s out to 50s. But Baywatch, I don't know if he beats him anyway. Like, this horse won, absolutely spanked him by 2.5 lengths.
Yep. By bivouac.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just turn up.
James Cummings was quick to be to the praises of the son of Bivouac. He's like, Bivouac, it's his early
young
crop.
sire.
Yeah, he's a young sire. But God, he's putting some together. He's putting some runs on the board early. So, yeah, James is a big fan of Biv's work at stud. And he said it was a bit of a moving day for Godolphin, which I think they kind of delivered on that promise. Would you agree?
Yep, absolutely. Well, just fell short of winning 2 Group 1s in Melbourne. Like, you know, yeah, you give those horses that, Kitty Cat Tom another metre, and you give Tantris another metre in the Blue Diamond, and that's 2 Group 1s plus the Silver Slipper for Godolphin, and broadsiding as well. So no, they had a great day.
They won the 2 Group 2s in Sydney, so the Hobartville as well, broadsiding, easy as you like. Beat the rest of this mob by a length, but it was pretty soft. He did have the perfect run though. Would you agree?
He did. Yeah. Agree with exactly what you said. And he jumped nearly at $3, and if they gave me $3,
yeah,
when markets first opened, I would have been like, yeah, I'll take that.
I think you even said that on Wednesday, I'm pretty sure, because like what I couldn't really understand is like, yes, like what was it was a good 4 still by this stage. So it's like, I'm sure the track had like a little bit of give on it, but also it's like in this kind of setup against these horses, like Chris Waller runners typically take a few runs to really hit their straps. Swift Falcon, we didn't really know where this horse was at. Public Attention was probably the one that everyone was a little bit spooked by. But he arguably was a little bit disappointing, maybe a bit of the second up syndromes. But if you're taking broadsiding on his merits, like, and what he did first up in the Golden Rose, like he jumped a bigger price here against an inferior set of horses.
Yeah. Yep. Hindsight's a beautiful thing.
Sometimes we as punters just overthink it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was great to see. Like, I love to see him come back like that. You know what I mean? And he's got the Randwick and the Rosehill Guineas at his mercy, and then he'll be competitive in a Queen Elizabeth.
So, I said on the first week back, if there's a horse that is keeping John O'Shea sleepless, it's Schwartz. Let me cross that out and replace that with Linebacker, because this horse was backed in to $3.70, the market mover on the day, and he finishes 6th, beaten 4 lengths. I honestly cannot figure that out. Like, this horse has done nothing of note. Like, nothing.
No.
I think he brained him in a maiden at Hawkesbury or something by like 3 or 4 lengths on heavy ground or something. And everyone's like losing their minds and touching themselves over it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I do not understand that. Aliana, she was massively on the drift, and I know who I'd rather take between Aliana and Linebacker, even though Aliana was against the boys, and she has a bad racing pattern, from the evidence we had up until that point. And she's a Chris Waller horse first up, who is wanting to probably peak in a different race. But I'd much rather take $3 something about her than I would compared to Linebacker. I could not understand it at all. And people smarter than us, who are more experienced than us and better punters than us, were giving him a big push. What? It doesn't make any sense. No. It's got to be an investigation.
Well, yeah, I really didn't understand it. Now, Jason Collette, got Aliana in a fantastic position. She had the back of broadside in the entire way. Just ran out of puff, the daughter of Castelvecchio, I reckon. I think she'll be a competitive 2,000-metre horse as she matures.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, she's a good horse. And Swift Falcon was great as well, which is good to see. The Hawks.
Yeah. We failed to mention that.
Come back in vogue.
They broke the drought.
Yep.
Yeah, good to
Devil
see.
Knight.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what the rhetoric was after the race is like, oh, this stable is just a champion stable of 2-year-olds. It's like, okay, they used to be. Like, sorry, but how long ago was their Golden Slipper winner, Estajab? Like, that was 29. What was that? 2019, 2020? Like, that was a yonks ago.
Yeah, 2018 maybe. Yeah. It was a long time ago. And it's been a long time between drinks for Group 1s, but they've found some form. Look, they had one in the market in Sydney that jumped at like $1.60 that duly saluted into what, 4th or 5th place. Didn't understand that either, but but they had more luck on other parts of the card.
Yeah, as they typically do. The blade you're referring to. Yeah, that sucked. Yes. Now, Josh Buttonshaw had a very good question. How big is Zach Lloyd's sack going to be later this weekend? Bigger than Peter Siddle's on his birthday. 5 winners for Zachy boy.
Man, he's good. He's very good. He's the heir apparent. And yeah, if J-Mac's not in town, he's the guy. Like, and he's such a young fella. He's only just outridden his apprentice claim. He's just getting better and better. I feel like he's got a nice mixture of like J-Mac aggression and assertiveness in the saddle, but also can get him into a nice rhythm where they're comfortable. He had issues, probably even as recent as this time last year, getting in trouble with his stewards all the bloody time. But he's got a lot of that out of his game, so to speak. He's very, very good.
Just riding with confidence, isn't he?
Yep.
He's picking up a lot more rides for Chris Waller too, which is probably the heir apparent in that stable if J-Mac was to go to Hong Kong or something, I'd say.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah. Speaking of Chris Waller, he had another nice winner in Firestorm in the Millie Fox. Now, we mentioned that horse's name on Wednesday, but I didn't back it. Tell you this much for free, a horse I didn't back was Macarena. She got into $1.65 I'm looking at.
Absurd, isn't it?
Huh?
Absurd. I didn't understand it. Like a horse like that price, no thanks. I didn't back the winner, but I backed Scarlet Oak, and she was a good resumption. But we spoke about Firestorm. We were like, yeah, Firestorm wouldn't shock at all. I could not believe the price of Macarena. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was sickening sort of stuff. So if you back in Macarena, take a good, long, hard look at yourself.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah, just to rub salt in the wound, Ducasse wins later in the program, which was good.
Oh, God, Ducasse, I couldn't believe it.
I know.
It was funny.
And then, yeah, Tropicus wins at Caulfield. Like, so many of these horses that I've punted on with no success, and then they're just like going like, hey, bruh, remember me?
Oh, man, Courvolant would have stung you.
Oh, I forgot about her. Oh, no.
Courvolant would have stung you.
Yeah, but...
And she was dominant.
I did need to see
I told you.
I did need to see it. And
Yeah.
I was on the runner-up, but yeah, she won by 4 lengths. She absolutely brained him, didn't she?
Yep. Mate, Shanwar was good.
Mate,
Blakey Bill's just a great rider.
Very, very well found by you. And I think Emphasize was a lot of people's best bet of the day. So that was really well done by you. Very well found.
Mate, Shanwar was the victim's best of the day.
Yes.
And I was on, and sorry, the victim was on Emphasize for prior start. So, you just, sometimes you just need to look beyond, you know what I mean? Yeah, he was a nice winner. Yeah, definitely moving day. Like, I feel like we're balls deep in the autumn now. And got a much clearer idea of the pecking order, put it that way.
Well, speaking of the pecking order, I feel like a 3-year-old that does not get mentioned at all is Treasure the Moment. Mate, she's just a winning. She's a winning machine. This filly.
And she's a bit of a jet. Like, that was a phenomenal resumption. Like, I thought that would be Zardozi. You know what I mean? When Zardozi won the Oaks, I thought she was just better than all the other 3-year-old fillies, and she was just going to come back and just win everything, irrespective of the distance. But she's, evidently turned out to be much more of a staying type. Whereas I think Treasure of the Moment I think she's going to be a feature in our weight for age races. Like, honestly, I think she's going to be a mare who's consistent in that, mile to 2,000 metres, at weight for age. Like, she's clearly better than them, like so much better.
Yeah, so fascinating pedigree here too. So, that was her 8th career start for 6 wins in 2 seconds. Like, never been outside
Wow.
of Quinella. And she's won from 12 or 1,100 meters up to 2,500 already. Outstanding. And she's a daughter of Alabama Express, who I believe won a Memsey or a CF4, I reckon. Alabama Express.
Yep.
Now, the sire of her dam, Dracon Treasure, is Street Cry. Now, what do the Street Cries typically race over?
Street Cries. Well, Street Cry is the father of Winx. Street Cry is the father of Street Boss. And Street Boss is the father of the Animos of the world, the Pinstripes of the world. I think Tempted, actually. So that's middle distance, 16 to 2,000 meters. That's their sort of gravy. So yeah, you would think that based on her pedigree, she's probably more of a miler. But sometimes this, like the 3-year-olds against their own age. Sometimes just the best ones will win the classic types because they're just the best. When they're actually not genuine stayers. But no, she's really exciting, Treasure at the moment, and she was so much better than them yesterday, and it was great to see.
Well, what was the sire of the Melbourne Cup winner? Was it Redouse's Choice?
Extreme Choice was the sire of Knight's Choice, who won the Melbourne Cup, and Extreme Choice is also the sire of Devil Knight, who won the Blue Diamond yesterday. So, an Extreme Choice won a Blue Diamond himself. So, the breeding game's funny. I feel like it's you can try as you like to nail it and predict the future, but ultimately it's a dartboard.
Exactly. And sometimes you just need a fast horse. I think that helps you a long way if you can have a fast horse.
Absolutely.
Mate, I think that was pretty much it. Now you're dialing in over the next couple of weeks, aren't you? Because you're just jet set all over this great.
Yeah, I might be back for like around midday on Sunday next week, but we can chat about that at a later time. But I'll be in the studio on Wednesday.
Okay, all right. Well, I look forward to talking to you then. But until then, drifters, thanks for listening. And if you're gambling, do it with Nebs and do it responsibly.
Well said.
All right, hooroo.
See you, Mike.